lot of information here. The file number is 2510340N. It is a zoning violation. The ticket says violates ordinance 10, section 26, and some other code sections. Accessory structure built without permits. So it violates the zoning ordinance and the building code. The enforcement officer for the township, Lauren Reed, signed the petition or the citation issued May 21st of 2025. So this is set for formal hearing today. There is a jurat which has not been signed.
If I could interrupt.
Yes. And Mr. Reed, would you also raise your right hand? Will swear or affirm any testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. All right, Mr. Thornton.
2 days ago, I hand delivered to the court the jurat signed by me and Mr. Reed, and inspection reports and copies of all the sections of the ordinance.
Here they are. Thank you. They weren't there when I looked earlier, so they must have got entered. Yes, here's a signed jurat, the report, and the sections of the ordinance. Thank you. I didn't have that earlier this morning when I looked at it, so it must have got.
One thing I didn't have to deliver that day, and I just got back from vacation on Monday, so were copies of photos. Mr. Nystrom has copies of everything I delivered to the court, and I've also given him today copies of all these photos. So he's got duplicates of all of that.
All right, well, this looks like we can probably remedy this. The last case had no remedy. All right, Mr. Thornton. They've issued the citation. The allegation is that he's called an accessory building. Not sure exactly what this is.
We're not sure either exactly what it is as far as what we're calling the addition.
Mr. Nystrom, what's your position here?
Well, I explained to Mr. Reed when he come to my house on June 5th that it's not a building. It's just 7 posts sticking out of the ground. When I moved in, I made a dog kennel for my dogs. And that's what that was. And now it's just 7 posts sticking out of the ground.
So it was part of a dog kennel at one time?
Yeah, I put up some 1x12s on the outside of it so my dogs could hop out the sliding door and be out there, and a lot of dogs out there around.
All right, and so do you still have the dogs?
I do.
All right, so this is a dog kennel?
It was about a year ago. Now it's just 7 posts sticking out of the ground. I took it apart a long time ago.
All right, so it's not functioning as a dog kennel right now?
Correct.
Okay. So it doesn't look like what it looks like in the pictures?
Yeah, at the moment it does look like that. And I explained to him too that I just had that wood sitting on the ground. I didn't want it to get ruined over the winter, so I just stuck it up there. That's a wood framed window, kind of acting as a wind block at the moment. I didn't want the wood sitting on the wet ground all the time.
So, Your Honor, the section 26.2 of the Colon Township zoning ordinance, which the court has a copy of and Mr. Nystrom has a copy of, under subparagraph 1,
Let me catch up.
whether it's a building, a structure, or a fence, and I think from the pictures, even if it was a dog kennel and it's not intended to be made into anything else, it certainly falls under a fence. And then there's also another fence, which I believe is a dog fence that's shown in the pictures, that has kind of some wire mesh or something along with the wooden posts and planks. All of this, we believe, were the dog kennel and the additional fence were all installed, I believe, in 2024. Mr. Reed can testify to that because we have aerial view off of Fetch that shows nothing there in 2024 when the aerial view was taken. But under section 26.2, no building, structure, or fence can be built or installed without a zoning permit. And then once the zoning permit is applied for and the intended what type of structure it is going to be described in that zoning permit, then the safe built would determine whether a building permit is necessary. It certainly would be necessary for an addition if it exceeds 200 square feet, which this looks like it would, if it was going to be an addition. But that's when that determination would be made. So it would be the township's position that whether it's a dog kennel, an addition, a zoning permit under that section 26.2 is required. And again, Mr. Reed can testify. He's reviewed the records and no zoning permit was applied or issued for anything on this property as far as.
Is that correct, Mr. Reed?
Yes, it is.
All right, you took these pictures?
Yes.
And what day was that?
First time I was out there. Those pictures were, let me see, started on 4/17. I took some pictures.
25?
Yes, 4/17/25. And second letter was sent out on 5/5/25.
So the photos, he agreed, they're fair and accurate
Yes.
photographs of what is represented?
Yes. The picture was taken on a different day because the stop work order was posted on 6/5.
4, 6, 7. 7 photographs will be admitted as plaintiff's exhibit 1. All right, Mr. Thornton, let's just cut right to the chase. What does the township want here?
Well, we want Mr. Nystrom to follow the zoning ordinance and apply for a zoning permit. And again, that would, what he fills out on that zoning permit will then dictate where we go from there.
All right, is another option to simply remove everything?
Yes.
Mr. Nystrom, what do you want?
Well, the fence that they're talking about right now is for my chickens, because I've had quite a few birds get killed by the dogs that run around out there and whatever other creatures. And since I've had that up, I've not had any killed by anything. So like my chicken coop is less than 200 square feet and the fence is chicken wire that I don't know the exact dimensions of that, but I would like to keep it so my chickens can have a spot to run around and not go in other people's yards or get attacked by other people's animals or wild animals.
Well, you may be able to, but you have to ask for permit, not just in Colin Township, anywhere somebody put up something like this, the building official would say, wait a minute, you need to get a permit for this. I could see perhaps as a dog kennel why you'd want it connected to the house, because you could just let the dogs out the door and they could run in there. But as a chicken coop, I guess it doesn't have to be right next to your house. I wouldn't want a bunch of chickens right next to, adjacent to my house, but you need a permit. And I don't think this thing's gonna pass code. It looks like it was just kind of stuck up there. I don't know if the footings are deep enough and everything that's required. So, Mr. Nystrom, what do you propose? Just leave it as it is and use as a chicken run?
I mean, I would like to, but if I have to get a permit, if I don't have, the right to keep my animals safe in my yard that I own, then.
Well, you do, but you gotta follow the rules. I mean, for one thing, this looks like hell.
Well, yeah, it's just temporary.
So I'm sure your neighbors called and that's why this started. It's like, what the heck?
No, they were.
And is it legal to keep chickens in this neighborhood?
Yes.
Because that's not true everywhere. We've had some cases involving people who wanted to keep chickens and the township
Well, I understand.
prohibited it. But apparently you're allowed to keep the chickens and you're allowed to keep them safe. You just need a permit to do what you wish to do. And there's this thing with a truck camper on the top, and I can't even tell everything what I'm looking at.
Yeah, that's the chicken coop.
That's the chicken coop.
That's the roof. Yes.
All right.
And it wasn't the neighbors that called the township. The whole neighborhood area got letters from the township. There's a house across the street for sale for $250,000. Nobody else has a house up there with that.
I would explain to Mr. Nystrom that somebody had to call because Colin Township is a complaint-based driven
Well, I understand some
enforcement.
That wasn't the neighbors though.
I discussed that yesterday. I'm not a big fan of that. We had a complicated case yesterday in another township, and there are other offending properties in the township, but since somebody's made a complaint about it, they don't do anything. so you can drive past them. And the guy's like, well, why aren't they doing anything about this guy? And that's always a good question. And it always comes up. Why are they picking on me and not on everybody else? But anyway, you can't do this, at least not without a permit. I think you can do what you want to do. You just got to do it right. And people all over every township. Mr. Thornton represents several of them, but there are 26 townships and 9 cities or villages in the county, and each one of them have got zoning enforcement ordinances, and they aren't all the same. Once upon a time, Flowerfield had none. When I first started, it was like the Wild West. You could have put a nuclear waste site next to a church, but at this day and age, every township has got zoning enforcement, and you can't just do this sort of thing. You can do it, but you got to do it right. So what are you asking for, Mr. Thornton?
We would ask for a finding of responsibility on the civil infraction citation, restitution to the township. Safe built enforcement fees through today are $175.68. And I will have about an hour and a half in it through today. That is $285 at $190 an hour. And that totals $460.68 in restitution that we were requesting. And obviously either we would then, if Mr. Nystrom doesn't remove it, I'd submit a compliance order, assuming that the court goes ahead and finds him responsible if he doesn't get it cleaned up in a reasonable amount of time.
That's how the process starts. This is a civil infraction. It's not a crime. You're not charged with any criminal act. So the burden of proof is lower. When you're charged with a crime, they have to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. When you're charged with a civil infraction, they have to prove it beyond a preponderance, which is just barely more than the other.
Right.
Although there's proof here that you haven't complied with the township ordinance. So it starts with a ticket and then a fine, and this costs it, so it's expensive. And everything you're spending on the ticket is money that you can't spend on making the improvements. So then they will submit something called a request for a compliance order, in which case you either have to come into compliance or they can come tear it down and send you a bill for tearing it down.
That's the next step you're saying?
That's the next step.
Don't do what you want?
Yes, well, that case I showed on the screen before we went on the record. People were living in that house. Like now, and I did a compliance order saying you can't live in there, and if you don't live in there, if you do live in there, you'll be in contempt, and it gives the township the authority to tear the place down. Yours isn't that complicated. Yours is just some boards in the ground. Plus, if you're gonna have a chicken run, how big is your lot?
It's like almost 3/4 of an acre.
You might want to put it somewhere other than right where this is.
Oh, that's not the chicken. The chicken run is the fenced in area where he was talking about there's some sort of wire.
Yes.
That was the chicken.
So there's two things. There's a dog pen and the chicken pen. All right.
Well, the dog pen's just,
And so that'll be easy enough to remedy. If you're not going to use it as a dog pen, you can just remove the posts.
the posts can't even be on the ground, just.
Well, I don't know. Is that a violation to have 7 posts sticking up in your yard?
The way it is right now, my opinion would be yes from the townships because it's got the boards on it and it really does constitute a fence at this point, especially the one side is still framed in and has some type of window or lattice or something in there.
So if I remove the wood other than the post, would it be?
That, you can work with him, perhaps. I don't know if it's a violation to have 7 posts sticking up in your yard if you don't have a fence. I don't know. I have fly speck ordinance. But either way, you can do this if you comply with the ordinance.
I understand. And I never received anything from the township or from the court. And when I got my ticket, it says that, you know, he mailed first class mail and then posted something on my house, but there was never anything posted on my house like there was May 21st. My daughter called me and said that we had something taped to the front door. And that was the ticket that said I didn't comply with.
All right. Well, I don't know. Mr. Reed, did you ever talk to him about this?
I did, but it wasn't until I went out there. He was actually there the day I posted the stop work order. And then we talked.
That was June 5th.
But you would have mailed the inspection,
Yep, they were all
prior
mailed.
inspection reports to 59221 Nora Drive.
Yes.
That was mailed on 5/20.
But were they posted, like the ticket says they were posted?
Date of inspection
I don't
5/5.
post the letters, I just.
It says,
those.
it says on the ticket it's supposed to be posted though.
Oh, the ticket is posted. Ticket was posted then.
The ticket was posted on May 21st. There was never a ticket posted before that.
I got a picture of it, so.
Well, could I see that? Because I asked you about that on June 5th, because there was never anything posted on my house
Just for
or my
the
door
record,
or
Vaughn,
anything.
when you establish, would you have posted that ticket on the date the ticket was written?
Yes. I posted on the date and I read the time out.
So is it your testimony that you did post that ticket on 5/21 of 2025 on the front door of the mobile home?
Well, that was already after. There was, it says
The
that
ticket was dated 5/5. Oh, no, it's dated 5/21.
5/20.
Here's the stop work order.
that wasn't never there though. What day was that?
I mean, your cat there and the ticket's on.
Well, I understand that's my door, but when I came home, there was nothing on my door.
It could have blown up. I don't know when it was windy. I don't know.
All right, well, Mr. Nystrom, you feel the way many people feel, that you ought to just be able to use your property the way you wish. And somewhere there's a line where you end up with a house like the one I showed you, where they just disintegrates to a point where it's inhabitable. This isn't that, but no township in St. Joe County is gonna let you do this without a permit. So what you asked for was $175 restitution to Safe Built, $285 in attorney fees. Was there anything else?
No, just the finding a responsibility.
Yes, but your number, you said something like 468.
Well, those two, well, Safe Belt was 175.68.
Oh, 68.
So I totaled those two, and if I totaled them correctly, which I did by hand, was 460.68.
All right, I had 460.68. Then it is found responsible. Fine and cost is 460.68. The fine is zero. I just ordered restitution I fined the guy yesterday $1, but I also ordered significant costs. My suggestion is within the next 30 days, either get the building permit or remove the structures. And that section number, again, it's hard to read it on there. 26.2,
26.2.
civil infraction, 460.68, due within 30 days, that'd be July 26th. What would be your further instructions for this defendant to move forward?
We'd be happy to meet with Mr. Nystrom after the hearing. That way, Mr. Reed and I can sit down with him. It really probably needs to be Mr. Reed, or possibly even because Mr. Reed's a code enforcement, but he's not the building code official. And it might be a conversation he has to have with the building code official from Safe Built.
Well, he is handy enough to do this. He's handy enough, I think, to get it in code compliant. I think you can get what you want. You're just gonna have to make sure you stay within the lines. Here's the envelope regarding your fine. You can bring in green cash, you can pay by check or money order, you can pay by credit card. Right here at the courthouse. There are some instructions on how to pay by credit card.
And I'm going to hand Mr. Nystrom a zoning permit application that he can use if he chooses to go that route.
All right, you guys are free to use the conference room and discuss this further. Thank you. All right, I've had a lot of zoning in the last couple of days.